There was, I was quoted as saying the Ducharme well that is part of Hudson tested positive for PFOA and was shut down. Actually, I didn't mention the Ducharme well.
No.
But it's in there, and I don't know that it matters that much, but because I didn't know exactly which one it was. And it was a question in my mind whether it tested positive for PFOA.
I believe you said there was speculation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That maybe should be stricken from the minutes.
Okay.
Because we did talk about it, but the facts that are here are not exactly correct.
I believe the question that you asked, and I concur, was the rumors that the well has been shut down. Investigating, we found that the Duchamp well was shut down. According to reports, it was from iron and manganese. Those wells have been tested for PFOA when I was here. They will meet the standards back in the day. As of today, I can't answer that.
The
Okay,
standard has been changed.
correct. So,
Okay, do we want to approve with those amendments? Okay, motion by Mr. Larry,
second it.
second by Mr. Lynch. All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
I,
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 500. Next item of business is Teresa Brienne, Town Clerk Tax Collector, Tax Deeding Waiver. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. So I have a property at 3 Laurie Lane that is due this year for deeding. This property went to deed back in 2018, was purchased by the owner of the park. And then this individual took it over. He hasn't made a single payment on this property since he's been there. So we've done we've done all of our lien notices. We've done, I sent out the deed notice to let him know that we were going to be deeding the property. He actually refused on the certified letter and sent it back. So we sent the police department out and they hand delivered it for us. So we have a report of that. The problem with this right now is with the situation that's going on at the park. I think that that the town is going to end up bad position if we deed this right now. So I think that maybe we want to hold off on it, sign the deed waiver for now, and then hold off and maybe revisit it in 6 months or whatever.
Is this the same piece of property we took action on in 2018?
It's not the same individual.
No, but it's the same parcel.
It's the same parcel, yeah. So, but again, like I said, after discussing, this with Troy and going back and forth with it, there's some things going on over there that we figured out we should probably, might be in the town's best interest just to hold off for right now
Mhm.
and revisit it again in 6 months or when we know what's going on.
Mr. Chair, we're referring to the park at the south end of town.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of questions, lawyers and everybody else. I agree that we should hold off, but it's going to it's in foreclosure. Okay, the whole park, so it's a matter of time getting through this. They're doing survey work up there now to figure out who, what, and owns this and that, right of ways with the state and stuff like that. There's a lot of speculation. I think we need to.
So the property is 3 Laurie?
Yes.
3. I don't know if it will refresh, but for some reason I had 2 Laurie Way.
Yeah, in your notes you had 3 and down
So
in the
it
motion.
Should
you
be
had
3 Laurie.
3 Laurie Lane, yes.
You're close.
So typically because of some of the legal matters going on with the park, the fact that if you actually did accept the tax deed, you would become owners of
Mhm.
this mobile home. You become landlords. You would have to start eviction process for the person, the tenant. Be responsible for paying monthly park rent. And so typically boards, at this point in time, don't take the tax deed until we're able to work with the park owners and have something set up so that upon the taking of the deed, the ownership's transferred at the same time.
Yep.
So I think that's what Terry's looking to wait for the legal issues to work out, and then she'll work, with who the new park owners are and have that set up for you so that you take the deed, but it's transferred at the same time to new ownership.
I think it's the right action.
This is not an uncommon practice when you get a transferring of the land and foreclosure. I think these, we had to hold back. We're doing the right thing. Waiting to see what happens.
Do we need a motion?
I would make a motion to sign the deed waiver as prepared by the town clerk for 3 Laurie Lane.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. LaSalle's,
Second.
second by Mr. Lynch. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 500.
And the deed waiver, because this action needs to, we had to take this action this evening because you'll be too late for your next meeting.
Right.
It was in the folders there. I'm not sure if you had a chance to sign it, but
I did.
so make sure
We'll make
before you
sure
leave
it's
tonight, you sign it.
And maybe he'll come in and make the payment and be up to date before next week, because the actual deed date is next Monday, so
They come alive.
maybe he'll,
We have a week.
we have a week, fingers crossed, maybe he'll come in and pay it. All right,
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it.
you.
Have a good evening.
you too.
Next item is the Litchfield Boy Scouts Town Cleanup and Talent Hall Use Request. Mr. Brown.
So I was approached by Justin Haley and also his mother, Susan Haley. If you recall, Justin did his Eagle Scout project for the town, and he was coordinated and had installed, did all the fundraising for the first responder monument located directly across the street from the fire station. Couple of things that have come up with the Scouts. One, they meet in the bottom of the church. And because of the pandemic, they were not able to meet. They've been meeting in different locations. Recently, I understand the weather changing, they've been meeting outside in a parking lot down at the old fire station. So having a discussion, they were initially thinking that maybe they could meet inside the old fire station on the apparatus bay area. We talked to our emergency management team, and I was determined that maybe that's not really the best location to have a meeting. It's not a facility that's really designed and permitted for gathering of people. So it's more of a storage facility for fire trucks, and it's not what do they call it, a place of assembly. So everyone kind of thought that Talon Hall right now, with no demand, there's no use right now going on at Talon Hall, that would be a good location for them to start meeting. And again, it'd be on a temporary basis until they're able to get back into the church. So the emergency management team thought that was great. I wanted to have the Board of Selectmen agree with that recommendation. And then the next step would be the Rec Commission meets tomorrow night, go to the Rec Commission, make sure they're in agreement. I'm going to assume that all 3 parties would not have an exception. And I think it's a good way to start working towards reopening some of our facilities, and this will be a good test. The Scouts have indicated that they would disinfect the building with those high touch points, doorknobs, bathroom faucet handles, all that stuff. Before they leave, they would actually bring their own chairs or any furniture that they're using, they would disinfect before they leave. So I think it's a good way, a first step of using Talon Hall. But this board is on record of, closing Talon Hall. So we need to come here first and then go also to the rec commission.
Because if we brought it to the rec, they would have defaulted to emergency management, who would have defaulted to us and would have back to rec. So we figured we'd start with the emergency management, go to us, and tomorrow I can bring whatever the decision is to the rec. Our discussion was, town hall's wide open, minimal touch points. If you look at the new best practices for reopening, it basically says for the employer to have disinfecting around station. So we also reached out to who does the cleaning here, and he's willing to go by and do fogging also. So I think it's a good way to get one of our buildings open, test it out as we slowly open the town more and more.
I totally agree, and I think I think I would be very comfortable to open Talent Hall to maybe 30 people, so that, the small groups could go in
Pickleball,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, or pickleball.
So we had the chief go down there and he measured everything. And to keep a 6-foot distance, you could still fit 130 people in there.
Yes,
And so Administrator Brown reached out to pickleball. They have no use until September, October
Yeah. it
is what they
sounded like-
wanted. So I think right now, every time the Boy Scouts have asked for something, it's been 50 people. So I think, that number of 50 just to start it, people can still, socially distance. And we'll see how it is. And I think as we get closer and closer to the fall, when people are going to want to utilize it more, I think we're going to be in a much better spot at that time.
Not to step on stones, but the Talent Hall is ready to be over. Occupancy low down there is not at 100. Okay, but you can get in there. It's nice of him to say what he did, but the recreation.
Well, with tables and chairs, the fire code allows you to have
I'm
200
very
people.
familiar with this. I'm
Yep.
very familiar. I had this discussion for years here. Okay, I think it's time. As for the old firehouse, is the old fire truck from Manchester still in there?
No, in fact, I learned that it never actually was brought. They actually found another place in Manchester for
Appreciate
it.
that.
So it never did come.
But what is in the old firehouse? The highway stuff? Some.
Well, we
fire-
got seasonal highway stuff. So during the winter time, of course, we took all of our mowing equipment. We got a trailer
That'll
with,
come out, I know.
yeah. So then we'll bring some of his winter stuff. He'll put it in there. We got the voting trailer. We got the other voting trailer. We got a boat.
Okay, I'm just learning. I'm learning.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
So
think
there's a half a bay area probably right now of
Just
open
asking, that's why I'm
concrete
learning.
space.
Okay,
We
I
have
would
town
be-
assets in there, so.
I would be much more comfortable with people using Darrett Hall
Mhm.
than the old firehouse. I think we're asking for trouble.
Yeah, that's,
And that's how the emergency management team felt also.
I suppose.
They're gonna be wearing masks or no? It's a town facility.
Town facility, we've lifted all the requirements for masks. The Boy Scouts have been following what the Boy Scouts do.
Mhm.
Just like we're allowing, from the rec, they're gonna allow the school to use Darrell Park. The
They're,
school's gonna mandate that they have to wear masks
okay.
because it's a school function that they're gonna do there. So it's really been coming down to what is the function of the, choosing it.
Because, again, we're following all the rules, but you know how they start the vaccinations for 12 and older now? I don't know how that's factoring in. So they're gonna still do the distancing, no masks are required, clean up.
I was in Concord today all day in minutes or in meetings and no masks
no mess. Yeah.
in the legislative office building. So, I think it's time that we, whatever we have, the school has their own business. But I think it's time that we open things up completely.
I agree. And I think talent's a great way to start.
Just ask people to use common sense.
So the other issue with the Boy Scouts is that they've also recognized that we have an annual cleanup day. And I believe the annual cleanup day was sponsored or coordinated by Pat Jewett. Since Pat Jewett's passing, I think a few years, even the last couple of years, she was reaching out to certain volunteers trying to get it going. But anyhow, the Scouts have come forward and they have requested that they could actually be the leading agency or group that could coordinate the annual cleanup.
Be
And
wonderful.
I thought that would be good because you really want a solid group that's going to be doing it every single year. And I just wanted to point out that this board, previous boards have always had, taken the position that they wanted to support it and, endorse it, but it wasn't a town-sponsored function, and it was for liability reasons. But we've always worked with them. The highway department will go and pick up the blue bags on the Monday morning after the cleanup occurs, and we have vests and we have blue bags and stuff for them, so. But I think this is a great way to get that annual cleanup going again. What I did learn, some of you may have seen the Conservation Commission out there doing a cleanup, and I believe the Knights of Columbus, but what they have specifically done is entered into an agreement with the state DOT, and they've agreed to maintain a 2-mile stretch on 3A.
It's what, Hillcrest to Pinecrest, I
Yeah,
think.
so that's what they do every single year. They don't, it's not part of the annual cleanup. It's an agreement that they've done as part of their community service.
And they do it more than once a year. Spring, summer, and fall.
No, I think it's great that the Boy Scouts take it over. They'll be good at championing that cause and getting the town cleaned up.
So I prepared a motion, just so we have it on record going forward, that for the board to support the Boy Scouts' efforts in coordinating the annual cleanup day with the condition that it's not considered an event sponsored by the town of Litchfield.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Lascelles, second by Mr. Leary. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Leary,
Aye.
Mr. Lascelles,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Boy Scouts. Next, we have the appointment of Conservation Regular Member, Andrew Thompson. Mr. Brown.
As we know, Mr. Levesque had resigned a couple of weeks ago, which created a vacancy on the Conservation Commission. The Conservation Commission has met, and they are recommending to the Board of Selectmen that Andrew Thompson, who is a alternate member currently, that he be appointed to fill that vacant position. The term would expire in 2022, March 31st.
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lynch. We have a second by Ms. Queenan. Discussion. From the year I spent on the Conservation Commission, Andrew's attendance was semi-regular. Didn't really have a lot of input to what was going on. I didn't see him really active on the whole thing. I'm also sitting here looking at that the Conservation Commission has $1 million they're sitting on. And we really, I think, really need to take a hard look what we're going to do and what they're going to do with that $1 million. I think we have to really look at this appointment, find out who's going to be digging their heels in, helping to develop a master plan for our conservation area. You got to think of it where development's going crazy. We're one farmland away from a huge development going in. So I really think that we need to really look at who's sitting, who's voting within the conservation, and make sure that we have strong members there that are going to bring forth a master plan, and it's going to be the right thing to do for our community.
Response to that, I was at the last conservation meeting. I learned that if it's after 9 or 8:30, they all go home. Well, the elderly batch, okay, which is odd. I think it's gonna be a good choice, in my opinion. This group now is being led differently. Okay, they do know the money factor. Brought up at the me. We lost $135,000 for lack of doing anything. Okay, that was brought up to this commission. Matt is very aware of it, and Diane, who's on the commission too, another auxiliary member. This gentleman here is taking just a minute and learning. I think he's going to fare well. I think he's not against anything going on. I think it's just something what the commission's been doing over the years, what the group that's in there now, you're going to see a change. Was at the meeting till 10:30. It went very well. there was some friction, but that's part of the game, okay? I think in the future, you're gonna see more steps coming to eliminate that faulty spending approach that was going on. I'll say it in those terms. Okay, and looking at the big picture.
I just feel that we have stronger alternates that I think will bring more to the table. Not that I take anything away from it. I really appreciate what
I
Andrew has
understand.
done for the
I
community
understand.
and the dedication he has for it, you know,
I
and
think-
doing it and being the secretary and all that. I just think that we're at a point now that we really need to look at it because
think you
they've
got-
maxed out the $1 million. Now it's going into another fund that's going to be spent for conservation. It's going to be under the control of the Board of Selectmen. I just really think from a conservation standpoint, we need to get the strongest voting membership we can.
Not gonna argue that, but I think I saw what I saw for that night. It's gonna happen quicker than you think. Okay?
No, I like the change in leadership we have. I just think there's stronger people that we could have in there as
I
voting
understand
members.
Matt Andrews new. He's taking the minutes. He hasn't been on board much. Young, he's gonna learn. I think Matt will understand and Diane was there for that meeting too. That's my feeling.
I just
Okay.
think that what happened
I think-
was they brought the next person to us who's been waiting the longest, sitting in the winds, the
Okay,
longest.
that's a good way of thinking about it.
You know, and I think that's what's being brought in lieu of
How
the
long was
strongest
Matt been on?
candidate.
Anybody know?
What's that?
How long was Matt on before?
And Andrew,
Andrew, excuse me.
I do not know. how
He
long.
started with us in 2018.
Okay, so
Those
he's
three,
new.
yes.
Led this way, led this way. I'll say that. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think the thing to point out here is that what you're talking about is not, this is a regular member, it's a voting member. So-
I really understand.
So
that.
so that's, that's really the importance here is that this person actually gets the vote when they're trying to make those critical decisions. And, I understand that there's some good talent. This is a tough decision for the board to make, and I know
Oh,
I know it's a very important decision because there are so many pressures right now on the threat of our farmlands, our open space, and the fact that, the commission itself is setting on $1 million of funds. And how do you, as a group, I wouldn't want to be one of those members to sit down and really try to prioritize, how I'm going to spend those funds in the best interest of the town. So I think this is one of the most critical appointments that the Board of Selectmen is going to make this year. And I've seen boards before in a situation like this, and sometimes they've decided that maybe they'd like to meet, all the alternate members and meet with them and discuss what their plans and their thoughts are. And then from there, you as a group discuss what you think the best candidate would be to put in that voting position.
Is Mr. Thompson brought before us because he's the next in line as Chairman Weber said, or is he who the board, the Conservation Commission feels is the best person for the job?
I would say the latter is the case. He is an officer with the commission. We do have many other alternates. I will tell you that it was very easily a difficult decision. But he also has been working on us with GIS work, with mapping. He does have experience in environmental work. And I would agree that we made this decision based on who the commission felt was the best candidate.
I tend to agree with Mr. Weber that, times the board just rubber stamps somebody that comes in.
But I mean, looking at environmental work and GIS, you have another member who's even stronger than that, who does it as a profession, with a consulting firm. So, I mean, and once again, I commend Mr. Thompson for all the work he's done and so forth. And I just know this is a very tough decision. And I sit there and I do see, we have some other very strong candidates. The other evening, I think the only motion that was made was for Mr. Thompson. I believe the other alternates didn't realize they could make motion at the time. He was the only one appointed as a voting, so nobody else was brought forth.
I think we can all agree, based upon our previous discussions, that we really need Conservation Commission. We as a board feel the Conservation Commission is really key to future of Litchfield. It really is. And really need someone who is going to be not just there for the meetings, not that anybody is in that position, but we need somebody that has a true passion for the position. And I think that Troy suggested rather than approve this, and I think it's good to send a signal to the Conservation Commission that we really truly support them and we want them in the worst way to come out of this positively. I'd like to ask, you mentioned we lost 130,000. How did that happen?
Explain the math.
Overflowed past the cap. The cap of $1 million on that account.
The cap on
Anything,
that.
anything that goes over spills into the general fund, I believe.
So that come to so the town didn't lose it, it just lost from the Conservation Commission.
Lost from
From
that
its
account.
purpose.
Yes.
There was a,
From its purpose.
there was a citizen's petition a few years ago that placed a cap on the conservation land not to exceed $1 million. So,
And that's been in place.
so I think, I wasn't here, but I'm going to assume that $1 million, probably everyone thought they'd probably never get there. But with all the development that's happened recently in the last few years, that fund has just grown and we surpassed that $1 million figure. So the way the warrant article was worded, we have a cap on the land use, on the conservation land fund of $1 million. Any funds through the fiscal year go into, I'll call it a separate fund. It's held there until your next election. And at that point in time, it can be used however the voters want to use it. If it's not used, then it will lapse and go to surplus and go to the general fund. So there will be I'm going to assume there'll be a warrant article this year that will say these funds in excess of the $1 million are to be put towards conservation, fire truck, a new police station, tax relief. And that's what the situation you're in because of this warrant article that was passed. So you're going to have that discussion about these funds that are held. If you do nothing, then they just go to the unassigned fund balance and
And the spigot's not turned off.
no.
No.
No, the spigot's
So-
on.
And we're probably going to collect right now. I just wanted to say, I don't think we've lost 135. I think we lost
Lost
$35,000.
Oh, I was
I
off
think
my
the
number.
135 came
Sorry.
from because we're just kind of guesstimating
Sorry.
that by the time we get to March,
Yep.
it could be 130.
So
I apologize
that's why
for
it speaks
missing.
even more. It's really crucial that our Conservation Commission comes up with a master plan and they start very systematically looking at land that they want to purchase so they don't keep going over this $1 million fund.
I suggest that the selectmen wash the nomination that occurred. Answer that question.
What's that?
To answer the question, the nomination for Andrew, I strongly feel like Jay needs to be on this board. Nomination was made because Andrew was in line. It was exactly what Roger. It's only fair.
I have-
that he next.
Yeah, I can't confirm that, but it,
You vote against me. It's unfair to
sometimes
me.
I have verbally even said, well, that's kind of the procedure because when you go to your alternates, they go to the senior alternate first.
That's
A lot of
I
places
don't
do
want
that.
to sit here and say that I wasn't at that meeting.
I was at the meeting and that's the way the group did it. They went with the senior. Okay? It's not an uncommon practice.
It's not, but I think we're at a very
Okay.
crucial part with conservation right now.
But you're in a situation where this group over the years has been very stagnant, I'll say. Doing proactive stuff for the town. I'll just say it in that term, okay? I didn't make friends that night.
well, do we want to meet with other people? I mean, we're in a tough position because
Yeah,
on the
you
one
are.
hand, we do want the best candidate for the job. On the second hand, we have a new chair and we really would like to support him in the best way. This is the person he's recommended.
I think personally, what I'd like to do is push it back to the Conservation Commission and let them have a in-depth discussion with all their alternates. Maybe have them have an interview with all their alternates. And let them hear from all the alternates and come forth with what they believe is the right way.
And maybe have the alternates come in to meet with us.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing, healthy discussion for both boards.
And I think it's important for us as a board to let Matt know that this is by no means reflective on him
Or
or
the previous chair.
anything. I mean,
None
you're
whatsoever.
coming into a hornet's nest.
Mhm.
And I think that you know the situation. And our heart is in the right place. We want to support you and we want to support the Conservation Commission. But we also want to make sure that everybody knows that we really, really need you folks to, you know, be active and not be reckless, but be active and do what's right for the town.
We want him to have the best supporting cast he can.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Agree that we are certainly at a crossroads at
Yeah,
this point in time. But yes, whatever the will of the board is, I will bring that back to the commission.
I just want to go on record tonight that I just did what I saw. Okay? I see where you, the rest of your board members are going and asking, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? This discussion is needed. I wanted to be the guy to say, yeah, we agreed with him. We went. Now your input's been important to this. Well, thank you.
I would also like to say that we need to also weigh the damage that could be done to the Conservation Commission if they don't feel like their voice is being heard and is getting trampled on by us as well.
Correct.
They are voting for their own members to bring to us as well.
That's a very important point.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Uh,
You know that bridge you walked across once in life and there's nothing in either side of it? This is it.
All right.
So what's the will of the board?
I'll lay it out there. I'll make a motion that we
Go ahead.
invite alternate members of the Conservation Committee who, or Commission, who would like to be permanent members to meet with the Board of Selectmen, along with the leadership of the Conservation Commission, and just to meet with us, and at that point, then we'll make a decision. I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. LaSalle's.
Second that.
We have a second by Mr. Larry. Do we have further discussion?
You've heard what I said. I'm not against or pro. I just wanted to let you know what happened at the meeting.
My only discussion would be, I would like the Conservation Commission to discuss this amongst themselves and bring us their top few candidates.
I agree with that also.
Two or three?
Okay, okay.
Is that fine with,
Yeah, I was just curious on a quantity that you wanted us to bring.
no more than three?
Okay,
Is that all right, Matt?
yes.
3 is a team.
So we have a motion by Mr. LaSalle's, we have a second by Mr. Larry. Any more discussion?
Go with the will of the board.
All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
I'll say aye.
Ms. Queenie?
No,
I am an aye. Motion carries 4-1-0.
Let's bring it in, see what they have to say.
Next item is the New Hampshire State PFAS Environmental and Health Study Committee. Mr. Brown.
All right. So I know the boards had discussion on this at your last meeting. You appointed Mr. LaSalle's to serve as the citizens rep. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention that on this study committee, Litchfield has two slots. We have a citizens representative, which is appointed by this board, which you have done. And then we have another citizen that can be appointed by the president of the Senate. But before the president of the Senate can make that appointment, the senators that are serving on this commission, they are the ones that bring the recommendation forward. So I'm not sure where that's at in this process. We have had a citizen in town, April Weber, who has expressed interest in serving on this position. I know pretty sure our state representatives are aware of this. And I just thought if no action has been taken yet by the senators, that maybe this board, could just go on record that we support this Ms. Weber being appointed and serving as Litchfield's rep. And then we just submit a letter to the senators, or actually we ask our state representatives to make contact with those senators.
Ms.
I
Webb-
don't know I think Rich LaSalle actually knows the
Since I'm
procedure better than
directly
myself.
involved, if Mr.
I
Larry
know.
can run this, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
Rosemary Rung, who is a state rep from Merrimack, is very active on this, and she made a recommendation or seconded the recommendation or whatever of Ms. Weber. So it's not just, she's recommended above and beyond.
And I know that, I believe the former representative, Vicky
Recommended her
Forte,
also.
she actually recommended Ms. Weber
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
So we have no authority to make any appointment. I just thought this board might want to be on record
Just say thank you.
and to officially ask our state representatives to see if they could make contact with the state senators to get this moving, if it's not already moving.
If you guys are doing it behind, doing it ahead of schedule, us supporting it won't make any difference one way or the other. That's my opinion. It's just a saying, thank you for doing it. April wants the job, she can have it. Steve, good luck. Okay.
No, I'll make that motion,
I don't think it's necessary.
that we put forward April's name, and go from there.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Queenan. Further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. LaSalle,
Aye?
Mr. Lynch,
I think it's mute, but yeah. I don't think it's necessary. It's a governmental thing beyond our step.
is that a yes or a no?
You would. I'll go yes. I gotta live
Mrs.
with it.
Queenan,
Yes.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 4-0-1.
Thank you, Mr. Larry.
No problem. I'd like to mute you.
Yeah, that's what I was
Instead of mute, I
thinking.
love it, he said mute.
I wish
almost
Kevin
did it.
had a mute
I
button.
almost did it.
I'm sorry, guys, but I don't know. I've been working in government and Rich has too, and I've seen this happen over and over. The selectmen have never really had much say in matters. Okay, when you deal with the House or the Senate especially.
I think the intent here is
Just to
we're
be
not sure
nice.
if it's moving forward or where the status is, but
Exactly.
just to get it moving.
It's the support.
Go ahead, do it.
Next item we have is the annual performance reviews. Mr. Brown.
All right, so I believe this will be our third year where we've done our performance reviews. We've changed from that standard seniority step grade system to a performance review. And then we're talking, this is strictly for our non-union employees. July 1st has been our implementation date. So at this point in time, usually around right now, employees, supervisors will start completing the performance reviews so that they're in place and ready to be entered into the payroll system on July 1st. We've also to the best of our ability, tried to mimic what the union wage increase would be given. So as we know, the contract that was just passed by the voters was set at 3%. One of the things was that the implementation was October 1st, not July 1st. But I would like the board to consider that you, you set the maximum rate increase. Again, it's performance review, so not everyone's going to get the max rate. There's a range of 0 to 3%, if 3% is the max rate established by this board. And then that the implementation date would be July 1st, which is a little different than the union. But I just wanted to point out that the reason that I'm asking that we stick to the July 1st date is, one, the union is everyone is going to get the 3%. Whereas non-union, it's going to, again, be 0 to 3%. It's not everyone's going to get the 3%. Also, in the union contract, there are employees that will get step increases throughout the year in addition to the 3%. So in fairness, I think that having our non-union employees having the ability, if their performance is justified, be eligible for that 3% on July 1st.
That was our union October just this year, then it goes back to July. Didn't they just push it to
So they
October
go,
this year to help us?
that's right. So October 1st this year,
Then it goes
and
back
then
to
they'll
July.
go back to July 1st,
Correct.
the next 2 years of the contract. And like I said, throughout the contract, depending on their seniority status, they're eligible for step increases, promotions, and are all eligible for additional compensation.
Two things, on this. We've set the bar for all of our department heads and number twos at 2%, correct?
2.5.
Any
Was it 2 or 2.5?
2%
Two?
for
Two.
right now, we have all of our contracted employees
Yep.
at 2%,
The department heads.
the department
And
heads.
the number twos.
Yeah. But with that being said, there were agreements that initially in that contract, salaries were adjusted. And then we agreed to 2% fixed going forward.
Duration of the.
So there was an adjustment, anyone can research the books and see that Troy Brown's salary increased. And then I agreed to a 2% increase after that.
Yes, yeah, okay, right. And the second thing was, if I would like the board to have the purview to be able to, if somebody got, say, a 1% or a 1.5% and they felt they were slighted, board a chance to review it.
I believe the COLA
I'm
for,
not saying that would be, just if there
Yeah.
is, I don't want it to be.
yeah, and I think the COLA for 2021 is like 1.3, 1.4% is what it's set at.
Right.
So basically, you're giving every a percent,
Yeah.
1.5% over COLA.
But it's a performance.
It's a performance and.
We don't have the step system anymore. So as far as a position, you come in, you want it to be a little bit more than COLA because you want COLA
course.
just to keep it competitive. You don't want to lose income, and then the incentive for the performance.
Correct. It's
So
percentage
it's a-
above COLA is what we're saying by setting it at the 3.
Yeah. But we can, yeah, I mean, I think, that's something that I would need to do initially, make sure all the supervisors are aware and that the employee is aware that if they're, not satisfied with their
Mhm.
performance review, they can request a meeting, a second meeting with their supervisor. I think, because in some cases, there's a middle person that's doing the review. So I think in that case, allow it to go to the department head maybe.
N+1, yeah.
Yeah. And then, and if they're still not satisfied at that level, then they go to the Board of Selectmen.
Sure had that.
'Cause I think our people are our most valuable asset, and I don't want to see people leaving because,
I agree 100%. I've said many times our employees are our best assets.
yes, you do.
And I think we all sitting here feel that way.
And I don't think there will be anything, but if there was, just wanted to have that out.
Good idea.
Make that a motion.
With that, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion by Mr. Leary, a second by Mr. LaSalle's.
So you want me to repeat the motion? So, the motion is to,
With
the
all
I
board,
think our minute taker might need you to repeat it.
the motion is, for the 2021 annual performance review of non-union employees to set the maximum rate at no more than 3% effective July 1st, with the provision that an employee has the ability to seek reconsideration if they're not satisfied with their review
With the Board of Selectmen.
with the Board of Selectmen.
So we have a motion by Mr. Leary, second by Mr. LaSalle's. Any further discussion?
Exactly how I would have made the motion.
That's what you had in mind, right?
Yeah, he read my mind.
All those in favor, Mr. Leary,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
I,
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 500. Before we get to the reports, we'll add our other business. We had Memorial Day. Mr. Lynch.
I would like to bring up that we have Memorial Day again this year. Due to the changes in the COVID outside. It'd be good if we started the Memorial Day parade again.
So I know that the
Historical.
Historical Society came and said they would not be spearheading one.
Okay, I'm dead. I didn't know that.
Yep, they came forth and said they were only going to do a quiet celebration, as they did in years past.
Just
Sorry?
Just the replaying, yeah.
I did not know.
As you noticed, we did take action, I believe it was on the 4th of July parade that we, as Board of Selectmen, said, yes, we'd have one, and it was kind of it was a cruise, and then we had the fire trucks that involved and police, and it ended up turning into a pretty good event.
It's quite the push.
absolutely.
It was a great parade, so I mean, if we as a group want to reach out and see if there's somebody who'd want to spearhead it, like happened for the 4th of July, I think that'd be fantastic for the community on Memorial Day.
Maybe because of the significance of the holiday, we could get the veterans group involved.
That would be a great group that we could get to reach out, get Bobby Jackson and his cronies to go out there and,
Maybe we could reach out, although it's pretty, it's short notice.
Oh, yeah.
but I think if we put him in touch with maybe Jay and Pete and the What's Up crew, I mean, that's kind of what got everything going for the July 4th parade. I think they pulled that together in 6-7 days. I mean, it was pretty quick,
Pretty quick.
and the town just all came together and
Oh, we did chaos or kindness for what? 48 hours,
hours, yeah,
24 hours?
pulled that one off and that
And
went
and that
off.
was a big turnout.
Yeah. So I mean, I know we do have the citizens and the people that can pull it off.
Maybe you could reach out.
So you're talking Memorial Day or the?
Yeah,
fourth?
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great to get something out to get the community together again.
I didn't know this story.
Yeah, there'll be a small, I won't say private, but a small service, down in front of the old town hall where they lay the wreaths and do that ceremony. So what we're looking at doing would be to see if we can get some citizens to help spearhead a Memorial Day parade, just like the 4th of July one.
So being that it's 7:25 and we have Ms. Polanski with us, I think she wants to give input. We'll open it up to public input.
I wonder if we want to separate the parades so that we have a more somber Memorial Day parade, which is the intent of Memorial, Day,
Mhm.
and then have more of a festive 4th of July parade.
Day parade?
It's really
Very
festive.
festive.
It's very
It's really
festive.
festive, I know. But I've heard criticism of that.
But we do have the
That
somber
really,
part.
that it's not the purpose of Memorial Day. I mean, I love our Memorial Day parade. We got voted the best Memorial Day
Mhm.
parade. But would we be better to separate and have a really rowdy 4th of July parade and have a more somber Memorial Day parade? Just a thought.
I think the Historical Society wanted to
They want to keep it
Somber.
very small, yes.
small.
They want it to be somber.
Same as they did in
So,
20.
I mean, maybe if you're gonna do a parade, maybe do it like they did last year. Start from
The Albuquerque, yeah. Turkey, I'd stay away from the
Yeah.
whole fire station.
I
Yeah.
think 10 o'clock is.
You could even do it on the Saturday or the Sunday before Memorial Day too.
Yeah.
Just separate the two.
Just
Okay.
a little
Flag
bit so
Day.
that we
Flag
get
Day.
that somber.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flag Day is June 14th.
And we could actually just do a real kick butt 4th of July parade, see if we could get the high school involved and have them do floats and that kind of stuff, but where school's not open on the 4th of July,
Makes it
it could be
difficult.
could be too.
So what's the will of the board?
Kevin's bubble got broke. I moved to adjourn the meeting.
Few more things to do before that.
Oh, well.
May I ask how our veterans feel on the?
Yeah, we do have 2 veterans, I mean.
You signed up.
It's just awfully short notice, you know, somebody that hasn't necessarily done it before. Basically had it, but,
Due to the COVID breakdown, but I understand. Still severe out there.
So July is better?
well, I think we could certainly do a 4th of July like we did last year, which was awesome, you know, with the parade and everything.
Have Joan have all of, she has all those historical costumes and stuff. They could walk if we waited till July. Have our veterans actually walk the, usually do. Waited till July.
One of the things, I'll be honest, a parade is not just a fire truck going. It's the people in the parade. You know, the kids on their bikes, so whatever you want,
yeah,
want to do. Get the families involved. I'm not a fan of going down Albuquerque, I'll be honest with you. That's me. There's no one out there unless you want to go to that destination. Historical part of the town is the lower part of town. That's where the church, the river, the reef setting. We used to come from the Hillcrest Cemetery, the Pinecrest Cemetery. In the old days, we used to ride a bike from the Pinecrest to Hillcrest Cemetery to do the honors all the way through. Now, it used to be a decorated bikes and everything. And the people marched, you know, side by side, or we can do 6 feet apart. Okay,
I
That's
think
how
if
I
we
feel
wait
about
until
it.
July, there's gonna be even less cases.
Yeah,
And we could really make it a parade, maybe not forever, but maybe this year.
this year do something different. I don't know. I'm not a vehicle type parade. Yeah, you can put them in
I
there.
like
you
the
go
vehicle.
forward.
The participation of like the parade last year was awesome. I mean, I would say we had hundreds, if not 1,000 people watched that parade, and I mean, there was,
So maybe do a ride through for Memorial Day and then maybe try and put together, maybe do both. Do a walking parade in July.
I think when they reached out to the chorus and the band, and I don't think the school is gonna let them march, number one, because of the COVID. They split the chorus and the band now into separate groups, and now music is no longer a requirement, it's an elective, so it's getting smaller. It's sad that it's happening.
So the band is really gone.
The band can't do anything this year anyway.
Yeah.
From what I was hearing.
Okay.
But I'm asking more about this. I'm not trying, I'm working on the somber piece. I have a tough time celebrating when people have died, lost legs and generations. I have a tough time with that. So I was asking the veterans, maybe they don't, so that would change my perspective on that. But I think we need to remember who died.
That's how I feel
Not
about it.
party about it.
Throw candy on 4th
That's
of
just my
July. when we
opinion. How I
do
would
the
vote.
tea.
It's all about the perspective of the whole. It's the memorial of those who have died. Basically the story. Now, why is it May 30th? A story by itself. No, government.
You know, I like it because it opens up the eyes of the youth and talk to them about what Memorial Day is all about.
That's right.
And that's the part that I really enjoyed about Memorial Day Parade, with having the Little League going, you know, the baseball and the softball, and the kids were kind of quizzical on what it's all about, and it gave you an opportunity to really tell them,
Teams.
you know, what it was all about, and you had the Boy Scouts there, and we actually did have a lot of, you know, people that would participate. You know, coming July 4th, you do lose a lot of that because those sports are no longer in, but there's other sports out that could go and participate within it also.
Summer vacations, you're gonna lose a lot.
Yeah,
too.
it's tough.
It's hard, and Memorial Day's always been, that time, school's still in session. You still get a bunch of groups who are active in spring sports who participate. There's a lot more people around. So I always thought that the Memorial Day was great parade for us as a community.
I was gonna offer, I'll give you all a ride in the day parade, Miss. Better.
I think traditions are really important and,
I agree.
and we need to maintain,
So
like I was thinking with Conservation Commission, we used to do the fishing derby
Oh, God.
and it was sponsored by the Conservation Commission. Hasn't been done recently, but I remember when my kids were young, we looked forward so much to the fishing derby. And, that was a tradition for years and years and years. And slowly, it's.
Boy Scouts used to do it.
You'll be
before
happy to hear,
Conservation.
Rich, that Rec's trying to bring that back.
Boy Scouts
Rec is
used
trying to bring the fishing derby back.
There's certain traditions that, I mean, you guys have been around longer than me, but that are so, I think they're important, that you do, like, I mean, Robert, you probably participated in the fishing derby, right? So things like that are important and,
I think so.
we need to maintain those if at all possible. And I know this COVID and stuff is bad, and I don't know how soon we could bring this off, but,
I feel if you're outside, well, they could.
I think it's just the planning of
Yeah.
it, I'm not worried about super spreader events or anything like that, but,
But I also think we should be sensitive to keep it away from the Historical Society, what they're gonna go do. And, if they're gonna use the old town hall and stuff, we keep it on Albuquerque like we did in that area. Just to, out of respect for them, because they're trying to do a very low key. Or just don't do it on the Monday, do it on Sunday.
And it's that
Actually
fine.
work.
I think it's important, like Rich says, to keep the traditions going. I think it's very
Yep.
important. And it's not one of those events where there's a lot of hoopla with, we're just acting all crazy and stuff. It's very festive, but it's festive with a meaning. I think that's very important. And you see the little kids waving the flags and they're decorate their bikes with the red, white and blue ribbons and whatever. I like it. I know that the Historical Society doesn't want to have a big one this year, so I think we should heed their wishes. But if somebody wants to put one together separately, I think that's fine.
They did not do it this year. Did not know what it's about.
Thinking of the 4th of July, I was thinking about fireworks. And, this goes back a ways, but for the 250th or celebration, we had a guy here in town who was in drilling and blasting. Okay. Abbott was his name. He was in drilling and blasting. So for the 250th celebration,
He said it wrong.
we said we were gonna have a fireworks display.
Yeah.
Well, we had a fireworks display. There was so much smoke. I mean, it was the greatest. And,
Yep.
Fifth, 2009?
I don't know how much dynamite he set off, but
All of
it
it?
had stuff that, you remember it.
All of it.
Was anybody else around for,
I was one of the guys setting them off.
were you? But I mean, if we could pull something like that together, like an end of COVID, celebration,
I really think that.
That would be
An
awesome.
airport.
wouldn't that be great?
Could we do
I
a gender
think-
reveal level
We got
one?
an airport over there.
Abbott's not around anymore,
No, he passed on.
but I remember that.
Brick
And they had it at Griffin and there were shells like this big,
Andy was involved with it.
It was
Talked to
amazing.
him.
But
He
if
called me the other day.
Did he?
You know who you need to do that is the ladies who do Christmas. They put together things like amazing.
Christmas stuff?
The Christmas people and WhatsApp people combination. I bet anything, if you get those two groups together,
You pull
almost
anything off.
anything
Yep.
could happen in town.
I agree.
And that's become a tradition, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
You know,
They do the Easter thing too.
Easter,
They're not just
you know,
the
Christmas went into
They
Easter
did
now.
Easter, now we get them to go do 4th of July and, oh my goodness.
these are the things that make a town like Litchfield just vibrant and alive, you know?
Get events about.
I just don't know whether we can pull off a Memorial Day things that, to do it justice, you know?
Well, I asked the question, guys. Okay.
Let's see what we can pull off. We
Right.
can, you know, we can talk to the veterans, we can talk to the What's Up, we can talk to the Christmas. And,
Rick Chabonneau was involved with
Rick, he,
Fourth of July.
yep,
last
he
year.
was a strong advocate for it.
Yeah.
He helped out and got involved with everybody.
Yeah.
I think if we can get those same cast of characters back together again, I mean, they did 4th of July really quick.
Sounds like fun.
Okay. Yeah, the other business added was the energy pricing. Mr. LaSalle's.
Yes, we had a discussion in our last meeting about the energy contract. And we have it through National Regional Planning, and it's 7 cents per kilowatt hour. And I volunteered to do a little due diligence on this and see what the deal was. Well, I called the National Regional Planning Commission, and we had a deadline of last Monday. Well, I called the person who was in the document for information, and he was on vacation. That was school vacation week, and he was on vacation till Monday, which was the deadline. I did contact the school to see what kind of deal they have. They have a contract directly with Eversource, and it's 6.82 cents per kilowatt hour. So, and they're actually in a little bit better shape than we are. But so I was curious, you know, we were quoted that we had saved $65,000, you know, over the course of whatever period. And I'm just wondering, if we're paying more than the school, how did we save this money? So I don't know, but it's still an open item. You know, they ideally, I wasn't able to talk with the guy that was in the document, but I did talk to Jay Mancura. And he said, ideally, they need to, the reason they can't firm up the 7 cents, which isn't a firm number, is because they don't know how many people are going to be involved or how many communities are going to be involved. So it's still hanging there, but we didn't resolve anything. So we need to take some action here. I don't know what you suggest.
I mean, is there any possibility of us getting on with the school?
Well, they're doing direct. They're just, you know, it's elective. You can go out and find your own provider
Mhm.
or just go
Or negotiate
directly.
directly?
Eversource.
Mhm.
So it's, you know, I think what happened was if you go back when the town started participating in this, this effort with the Regional Planning Commission, I think Eversource's energy at that point in time was pretty close to 10 cents, if not 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And we went out to bid and was able to get locked into the 7. And I think that's what resulted in the savings. And I believe we did this 2 contract periods. So we might have done it over a period of 5 years or 6 years. But I don't know what changed with Eversource, but now their price has become very competitive.
So I'm
As
just,
you found out, you know, it's
I know a
it's very
homeowner can
competitive.
negotiate, we were told down to 10 cents.
Yeah. So, I mean, when this came up, I went and looked at my own homeowners thing, and I'm paying 10 cents right now. And
Mhm.
I think I can get Eversource. Just go back to Eversource and get it cheaper. So, but we don't know if once we know all the towns and schools that want to join this effort, and then we put all of our power demand out there on the market and different vendors come forward and give us their price.
But do we
Could
do
we
it too?
back out?
Well, that's the problem. I think that's why they give you that deadline,
Yeah.
because you really got to be in or out, because once you go out, that pricing that comes back is based on a certain
Everybody being
kilowatt
in.
usage.
Because I think in the future it'd be great if you could do a two-prong approach, say, yeah, we're going to be in, but try to negotiate before that deadline
Yeah.
and see how low you can go versus the anticipated rate.
Maybe we should,
I,
maybe
I'm-
we should contact Eversource and see what their deal is now.
yeah. I mean, I can contact them and just see what the rate is, and are they expecting any change?
What would the deadline?
They
date,
know if they
right?
have rate increases coming
And
up.
the easiest part is we know our school's paying,
'It's a nice-
0.0682.
Points, yeah.
We're past the deadline date.
We are.
We are, but if we want, depending on how firm they really, I think
It's not a
we
firm.
could probably still join, but we'd need to make that decision quickly.
I would like you to research with Eversource this week or so.
Yeah.
Get back to us on what they're willing to do. You can do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
they
it.
know, I mean,
That will answer. the
and then I can
question.
reach out to NRPC and say, what is your real,
Deadline date.
Yeah.
maybe the drop dead date was the drop dead date, but can we join, at our next board meeting, I come back with Eversource information and we can decide what we want to do.
And maybe we could join with Litchfield School District.
And we already know we're going to be better than the anticipated 7 cents if we join with
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
Even if it's for a year.
Well, our
we're not-
7 cents right now is what we're locked into. But that's our
6.8
rate,
and 7 is not
that we
much.
got 3 years ago.
Correct. But I thought the
So if we
document,
went out the bid again, I'm not sure if it would, I don't know what the market is. I don't know if we're going to be coming in at 8 cents, we're going to come in at 6 cents. I don't
I
know.
thought the way it read, they said the anticipated rate was going to be 7 cents.
Did they think?
Within
okay.
that. I think that's what it said.
So they didn't think of any change.
Similar to what
Correct.
Eversource is doing now, 6.87. It's not by a lot.
So if you agree
Okay.
to join this again, we're locked in for 3 years though, right? But their rate
Well,
is
you
only
know,
good
it's-
for 1 year.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we're
The-
locked in for
what-
3, but the rate's only guaranteed for 1.
What they do is, to be honest with you, they have a consultant, an energy consultant,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets all the proposals from these energy suppliers back. And then
They want
um,
guarantees.
they make a recommendation saying, you know what? We don't think you should lock, because of the market and this unknown and all this, we think you should only lock in for 18 months. So it's always kind of been a different time frame depending on the market.
But they shouldn't be able to lock us in if we can't lock them in.
We sign contracts, so when,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's, when we agree to participate, we go out to bid, we get those rates back, we lock in, we sign contracts, right now we have contracts signed with Constellation.
Could be
And our rates
signing-
are fixed until December 31st of
could be
this year.
But in
signing
the
a
past, weren't they
contract in-
fixed for 3 years?
What's that?
I thought in the past it was fixed for 3 years when we signed
They
the
only-
contract.
I think the last contract may have been 3 years, but I can
Yeah, I
remember.
think
we-
this one
the
is-
first
it's
time we
fixed
did
for a
this,
year,
I
but
don't think
you're
we
in
did
for
3
3.
years. I think everyone was a little nervous, and the consultant was like, well, why don't we go with 18 months? And we did that.
Because it doesn't make sense to sign a contract for 3 years when you don't know what the rate's gonna be term of the,
I agree.
it's like a very.
It's,
Yeah.
Long, you know.
It's like buying a house.
all right, so we'll put this back on the agenda for your next meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll close public input, since I never closed it.
It's a new one.
Next, we have administrator report. Mr. Brown.
All right, I never received notice today, but last week I was working with New Hampshire DES, and they're reaching out to communities that have been impacted by the St. Cobain contamination, the PFAS contamination, and they're holding a series of virtual informational meetings. So they conducted one, I believe, last week in the town of Bedford. They have them scheduled in Londonderry, Merrimack coming up, and obviously they want to reach out to Litchfield. We were looking at calendars, making sure no conflicts with other boards and committees here in Litchfield. I had suggested that they use Monday, May the 17th, which would be a week from tonight. And they went back to their team and they all agreed that that would be a good time. We were thought I was going to be receiving a press release today, and unless it came in later, I didn't receive that. But I'm anticipating that something will be going out to our community, hopefully tomorrow, getting the word out that Monday, May the 17th at 6:30 p.m. This will be a totally virtual meeting. But it's, based on their experience in Bedford, it went extremely well. And they had good participation. The purpose of the meeting is to really just to touch base with the citizens here in Litchfield again, because it's been a while since they've gave an update of what's going on in regards to their, they came to an agreement with St. Gobain. It's called a consent decree. And there's certain things that St. Gobain is required to do, and there's a timeline set out. So I think they want to go through that and make sure people understand what the specifics are in that agreement. But also, as I think a lot of residents are aware, and I know the selectmen are aware, they have been doing, as part of that consent decree, they were supposed to do additional testing. And I think they want to talk a little bit about maybe the preliminary findings or kind of what they're starting to see. I think I don't want to say anything. I just think we should all talk, wait for Monday night. That ends up being the meeting, but.
So what mechanisms are we going to use to get the word out?
So as soon as they get, again, this will be sponsored by the state 100%. It'll be on their platform. We'll send it out through using our website, our social media. They also have their ability where they have, they've developed a distribution list for people that have signed up. And so, they have residents that they have that they can reach out directly. They have a blog. I'll end up doing a code red as well.
Can we tie LCTV into it?
Yeah, I can't speak for them, but hopefully there's a way that, given the link, that they will be able to actually, between John Burnell and the LCTV staff, they can try to link that into our system.
You can work on that, Russ? Okay, thank you. I think it'd be good. I mean, if we do it on LCTV, they won't be interactive questions, but they can at least view what's being asked. Okay. Can we also somehow put together a PowerPoint like ad saying when it's going to be and what time? Now you guys have those scrolling through?
Yep, as soon as the press release hits, I'll slide.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you.
They have expanded that testing area. I got something in the mail today that said they were going to be testing in my area. So
Get it, so maybe they're not
You-
coming as far, so maybe more soon.
you'll be soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I received something. They're gonna be doing more testing in my area as well.
Okay.
We're heading south now.
Just wanted to, I think everyone's probably aware, but we were able to finish all the road paving projects. I received a preliminary invoice today in the amount of $412,000, which is right about in the ballpark where we were estimating. But what I'd like to have from you this evening is since we've met, we've collected more impact fees, and those impact fees can be used towards the Page Road project. So I'd like to have the board approve authorize the use of up to $62,000 from the road impact fees to be used towards the 2021 paving costs for Page Road.
Didn't we already approve all the money for that?
You approved all the money, but the impact fees, at that point in time, when it came to you, the balance of the impact fee account was $58,000. So I'd like to have authority to spend up to $62,000
You're spending it on Page Road?
towards the Page Road. The Page Road project, I think, was about $80,000, and it's one of the roads that's eligible for use of impact fees. You can't use impact fees on just any road here in town. It's a certain.
And that's because
roads.
of the development that went in.
The development, and plus it's one of those main corridors in our town, and that's what the impact fees are based on, that, not on like a little side street Cranberry or something like that.
So, but the money that we had already approved for all of this, you're asking for additional money.
To use, so you had approved to use up to $58,000 of impact fees.
Yep.
So I'm just asking now that because we've had more impact fee money come in, that we can use up to 62,000.
Did the project come in over cost?
I think it's just in right now is preliminary. It's just over 1,000.
Because
But we did,
the money that we had approved came from other sources.
it came from other sources because we did, I expanded the scope a little bit on Pilgrim, which, caused instead of doing spot milling, we literally went down the entire street and milled it a whole
It had
inch
to
and
be
a half.
done, though. It's one of the streets you had to do it. That was a
Yeah,
bad street.
spot milling was not,
Not gonna work.
it was not going to work. So we had, at the last second, decision was made to mill it. So our project, the project would have come in much less if we had stuck to just the spot milling, but you got a better product.
What is wrong with the rest of Page Road? I was on it just recently, today, this week, 2 or 3 times. I mean, this weekend. It's in good shape, Page Road. We're not gonna pave
Oh,
anymore.
it's done now,
Yeah, Page Road's done.
100%.
Okay, good. I'm in the impression, it sounds like Page Road, no.
No, it's because Page Road went through two
Two ends,
constructions. So
2 ends.
the first time we touched it, you did almost like you did like a 12-inch reclamation, and we put that binder down, and then it sat there for 2 years maybe, and now we've just come back and put the
Yeah,
the wearing
course.
course.
Okay.
So it seems like that's the problem, but those projects are so expensive, you just can't do them all in 1 year.
Talent Road or Collector Road, like Talent Road.
So you
could be
got
a solid
Cutler,
bid.
Talent,
Okay,
Albuquerque. Those are roads that we can use impact fees.
Passing Keg. it's a
Because,
collector.
any development off those streets, if you had a big, the impact is on those main corridors.
Passing Keg's in tough shape.
Yep.
You have to collect it to me because you got a lot of side streets coming up that one now.
So we need a motion to authorize the use of the impact fees.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Leary,
I'll second. Go ahead, Kim.
second by Ms. Queenan. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Leary,
I,
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
That's all on me.
That's over here.
I'm just gonna type.
Kevin hasn't figured it out yet. He's going
Vice Chair, then alphabetical.
I know, I know.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
Aye.
I am also an aye, and motion carries 500.
Third grade.
Twice?
Yeah.
Had to push him out of the way.
I remember we were talking about roads and fixing them and priorities and so forth. And Roland Bergeron, of course, was a road agent for many years here in town. Of course, Pat was on the Selectmen's committee, and Pat and Roland did not get along. Well, Pat lived on Jeff Lane, and Jeff Lane was in terrible shape. It had potholes, that you could drive a truck into, and Roland refused to pave that road. Never mind.
Oh, I can,
Oh,
I can,
that's-
I can just imagine. Knowing that road, that area is so wet, I can
was
just
Roland.
imagine what condition Jeff Lane would be in.
Oh, it was in bad shape.
Yeah.
But he refused to fix it.
Lose small children on that.
Okay, so also I've been contacted by the it is not acting, the vice chair of the zoning board of adjustment. And so she's asked, and I think, the reason she's asking is they have to post their notices and reach out to the applicants almost like 30 days before their hearing. And she's asked if we could give special permission to allow the ZBA to hear their cases, allow those applicants to come in face to face. And I actually think this request is reasonable. There's not a large crowd that comes to the zoning board of adjustment. It's usually just the applicant. And we don't have any variances that are on the table that are drawing in, 12 abutters. That's not what's on the agenda. I do think that between now and June, that our emergency management team and then coming back to this board, we're definitely going to have we're going to have some conversation here very soon about our meetings and how we allow the public to come back and mask and all this and that stuff. So I like to think that in the month of May that we're going to have a decision, this board will have a decision, a discussion at your next meeting about this matter. But it'll be too late for them to post their notice.
I think the ZBA only has, what, 5 members right now?
So they,
So I mean,
the board itself isn't that big. And then again, the applicants to come in, their experience is that
Yeah.
those applicants haven't been all that.
Why can't we do that now?
I just think I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and really talk it through about the logistics of if we, I don't think you can just open the doors up to the way it was pre-pandemic, because looking at, are we still going to require 6-foot spacing? We have room capacity. What's the procedures for people coming in?
We meet in person.
Yeah,
Couldn't we limit it to members and applicants only?
I think we can, as long
I
as we
think you
want to
could,
stay
yeah.
below that 11 or
yeah.
12
And
until we
so
figure
right
it
now
out.
we have a room capacity, posted of 12 people. So
That would suffice for them.
For them it is, because I think they only have 5 on the ZBA. These are the 5 or 6 they have
Yeah.
now.
I make a.
So I
motion.
think that, if, as long as our room capacity stays within the 12, then,
Maybe one applicant at a time.
Yeah.
Come in the room, the rest can be out or outside. I don't have a problem.
I
with
see
it.
no issue with,
I think we ought to I'll go along with Rich, it's time to open it up. Okay, I think you and the emergency management team are gonna be seeing the same thing soon, coming out of the state. Dr. Foshi saying that we may not wear a mask sometimes, okay, right now. Okay, so guys, we're at the end of the train, we hope. Unless you wanna go to India.
Yeah,
What
I
did you
just,
say, Kim?
go ahead.
Oh, I just had a question. This board does waivers, right? Yeah. Sometimes the planning board, right, doesn't have enough time to react to some of these decisions. Right? You should know.
Planning board should have time. They meet only once a month, the ZBA.
But sometimes they make a decision and we have only so much time. Like, I think it's, if we wanted to, challenge it. Sometimes the way the meetings fall for us is
You can
we
always-
go by it
And
and
how
then we
that
have to
works.
honor it.
How that works, okay? And I think Troy will understand this. The ZBA is a separate world when it comes to the zoning or planning regulation. Planning board may not like what they decide. You can always appeal that.
Right.
Okay, and that's probably the best way of doing it, to keep them more legit, not being influenced at another meeting.
That's what,
Yeah,
sometimes we
okay.
find out too late and we have to honor it.
Right. And if you're gonna come in and battle against it, that's the board's right.
But I'm just saying, if they come in person, first of all, I don't understand their process of,
You may have
sounds like they
both.
have a 30-day butter notice or something you just said.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got the legal notice, you got the
Right.
butter
Right.
notification.
And then, the results come out, in the paper or
Yeah.
wherever they're gonna come out. And then by the time we see them, it might be,
Well, the
Our next
results will
meeting is
be
gone.
out the next day. Okay, the secretary, whoever's doing that, will tell you what the vote was. Okay, you can get that from the chair or the vice chair.
I just wanna
Okay.
make sure that we don't, we have that window still to look at it. I'm not sure if they come in.
Well, I believe there's, whenever the zoning board of adjustment issues a decision, I believe that there is a 30-day
Appeal
appeal
process.
process.
But sometimes, we're so busy in our own groups, we don't realize what they're doing over there until all of a sudden they're in front of us and it's like, oh,
What Jay is for. He's supposed to-
here you go. And it's like, oh, now we have to honor it,
In
So
response
where
to
it would've gone
that,
different.
a town planner who we pay for should be watching these type of things. He should be notified of this, okay? Jay's gonna get that decision the next day. He's gonna be there for the whole meeting. Okay, he'll watch it, okay? He will be notified from the ZBA.
He does that now.
He should be. The ZBA should be telling him. Okay?
Yeah,
But he's-
I don't
he's the
know
one-
if that's
I think
actually
it
happening.
falls down
He
a little
tells
bit
it-
now.
He tells the chair.
I just don't know if we're compounding it or it's the same. It's just coming in now. And we'll still find out the result the same way, whether it's time.
Yeah, I don't-
Oh, we have to go
The
look.
appeal
Noth-
process.
Nothing's really changing here. The process that's been in place for years is not changing. The only thing that we're asking is the ZBA would like to have special permission to allow the applicant to literally come in and sit down and talk to the ZBA.
They want to go
in
back to
person.
pre-COVID.
Oh, I thought you said they were trying to waive the 30-day.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay,
No, no, no.
never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll make
Make
that,
sure we're not getting surprised on the planning board, like.
I'll
honor
make
it,
that
honor it,
motion to
honor
do
it.
it as of
Second it.
now.
Motion, we have second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, Mr. Larry,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Queenan?
I,
I am also an aye. Motion carries
And that's
5-0.
going to be, that will be for, because previously before this, we had a discussion, not just ZBA, but all boards and committees, subject to the room capacity.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
you know, conservation, I mean, if they can manage the room capacity,
Yes.
I
all
believe
people in
rec
the
is
room.
going back in person tomorrow night.
We're in person.
Where do you normally meet? Here?
We were doing virtual, but normally it was here pre-COVID.
who was this, Rec?
Rec, I think, is going to go back live tomorrow night.
Who's it, rep?
All right, last thing I have, just wanted to just follow up, let you know, iRoof contacted me. They're looking to start work May the 17th on the old town hall. They're very hopeful that they're going to strip it and re-roof it all in the same day. Unless there's some issue that comes up with the sheathing underneath, you know, what they find, but they seem to be pretty confident. If you look at it, it looks like there's no sagging or anything. So I'm hopeful that we don't have to cover it with plywood or anything, so.
Sold.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
I wish we could get our painter off the dime.
I know.
Well,
New roof, new paint job.
I've actually asked the painter to hold off because I want to get the roofers in there. I don't want a nice white building and the roofers get black tar marks all over it and get fights going.
Comment, Mr. Leary?
Taillight warranty.
what did he say? One more time?
Taillight warranty.
That was coming.
Yeah,
All right, thank
That's
you,
all I
Mr.
have.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Selectmen reports, Ms. Queenan.
Planning board will meet Tuesday, May 18th at 7 PM. It's very quiet over there right now. And the NRPC, the full commissioner meeting will be Wednesday, June 16th at 7 PM. And it's a public meeting and it'll be listed on their website if you would like to join. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Nothing from rec since our next meeting's tomorrow evening. Mr. Leary.
Budget committee meets on Thursday. We haven't met in a month. Gonna have our first meeting in a while, Thursday. And I'd just like to, this is a strictly off the cuff thing. Family in town, the Patton family, they had a little girl that was recently diagnosed with a brain tumor and originally was told there was no hope. And they got a second opinion and they thought they could do the operation and they had it. Glad to say she came home last night and and thoughts and prayers go out to that family.
How old?
She's like 7, I think, 8.
What's the family? Patton?
Yeah, her dad's a volunteer firefighter in town.
Volunteer firefighter in town.
Mom's a school teacher.
She's a school teacher and just
Yeah.
nice people.
Great family. Yeah. So it was very good news to get.
That's wonderful.
Conservation's quiet, nothing going on.
3 hours of silence.
He wasn't here.
That's why you get the big bucks.
He was one of the older people left early, he talked about it.
No, Diane kept on kicking me.
Gotta keep them awake.
Yeah, keep me awake. I think that in this case here, they went through some changes. They had some hills to go up and down now. There's been some discussion about land and stuff like that going on. There's a lot of new phases and new activity going on. It's all going to be good. There's always, I think that we're going through a transition. Well, welcome, Matt. Youngest transition we have. Okay, I'll say that nicely.
Well earned.
Okay, and you done well, and you did a good job at the meeting, okay?
So there's nothing to report. Can we move on?
Mr. LaSalle's.
Is the Heritage Commission, is it tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Okay. Glad you reminded me of that. That could slip by me. Another has nothing to do with selectmen's report, but just kind of makes you feel good about the town. Town of Litchfield has a long and proud tradition of their athletics, and particular in the area of girls softball. The girls softball team at Campbell is now undefeated, and not just undefeated, they're just clobbering everybody that they meet. And with COVID, it's kind of hard to tell. You know, they're not playing their own division, so things can slip up on you when you're, because with the teams up north that are in their division, they don't get to play because they have a restriction of being within 45 minutes.
So they're playing what, Div 1 through Div 3, right?
Yes, Division One and Division Two, and maybe the occasional divisions. They just played Manchester West tonight, and I had to leave, but I had like 19-2. And it's just, these towns come to Litchfield and they're just amazed that our little town has these teams that are absolutely fantastic. We have 28 girls that are part of the Campbell softball program. There are 10 seniors. Now, normally when girls are in athletics, by the time they get to be sophomores, juniors, and seniors, there's boys and there's work and everything. There's 10 seniors on the team, which is a total testament, and a total of 28 girls on as part of the program. So I think the coaches and the parents and the whole town can be proud of these girls.
Even the JV team's crushing everybody.
I know.
So it just speaks to the bench they have moving forward. It's
And you
great.
think about they're losing 10 seniors, and they're gonna have some tough times. They're not. They're gonna keep winning because the girls on the bench could beat the teams, And it's just truly a testament, for whatever reason, our girls softball program up through the town has been just terrific. And I don't have anything to do with it other than my granddaughter's part of it, but it's a wonderful thing.
Gotta get the baseball program back.
Yeah, like it used to be, It's
Great youth sports in this town, the feeder programs, it's unbelievable. All sports, soccer. Kevin, I know you know sports. It's okay.
I played baseball 1 year and that was it. Then somebody shot me in the leg. And then I had to go to work after that.
Yeah, that concludes our regular business. We do have two non-public sessions this evening. One is under RSA 91A:3 2D, acquisition of real property. The other will be under RSA 91A:3 dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee. Do we have a motion to go into non-public? We have a motion by Mr. Larry.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Lynch. Roll call, Mr. Larry,
All right.
Mr. LaSalle's,
I
Mr. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Green.
Aye.
I am also an aye. We are now entering non-public. While we do not anticipate the need to return to a public session following the non-public session for any reason other than to adjourn the meeting, we reserve the right to do so if the non-public session necessitates the board taking action in public. We are now in a